Welcome to the Stop Coding Automation podcast, where we all get together to learn more about automation and software testing, with your host, Ajamo Adams.
Hey, it's Ajamo, and welcome to another episode of the Stop Coding Automation podcast. Today we'll be speaking with Rahul Rathore, a test automation professional, all about Katalon Studio, and to get a bit more understanding about how codeless testing applications like Katalon can assist someone coming into the software testing industry. Rahul has over 8 years of automation and testing experience in core areas like integration, functional and regression testing. When it comes to automation, he has experience with tools such as JUnit, TestNG, Selenium WebDriver, and Katalon Studio. Rahul has contributed to the development of an automation framework for web-based products using Selenium RC and its migration to WebDriver, as well as exposure to Apache HTTP client library. He also has worked on the testing of RESTful web services using frameworks like REST and Rest Assured. You don't want to miss this episode. Check it out. Hey, Rahul. Welcome to Subcoding.
Thanks for wonderful introduction.
Great to have you on the show. This is a really popular topic at the moment with a lot of my readers and listeners. But before we go any further, did I miss anything in the intro you would like to share with the show?
No, I think that was perfectly fine introduction of me. You covered all the technologies so far I have worked.
Okay, that's awesome. I think to kick things off, can you tell us what got you into automation testing?
Yeah, so I think when I started my career in around 2010 as a test engineer, I was hired as a manual test engineer. So most of my time was around doing the manual testing, and that becomes kind of a tedious job because you keep on doing same repetitive work during the release as well as the bug fixes. So at that time, I thought of like, let's find some alternative to streamline the process of the release and also reduce the time which requires for doing the frequent release. So I start exploring some alternative, and at that time, I think in the market, Selenium RC was available. So we explored a little bit about that. We implemented that tool, and as a conclusion of that, we were able to reduce the amount of time for the release cycle. And that's how my interest towards the automation grows up, and then I switch my role from manual testing to the automation, as well as like being an automation engineer. I also do a manual testing, but moreover it's towards the automation, and combining the automation as well as the manual testing, we covered a wide range of scenario for testing of product. So that's how I started with the automation.
That's so important. Over time, even with myself working in different companies, it's so important to get that manual process correct and before you go to automation. And it's nice to have, I believe, to have that mixture that you fully have that core understanding, especially in an agile world, like what you're doing there, understanding what needs to be automated and what don't need to be automated, I think is so important.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. At a high level, what is Katalon Studio? Is it free or open source?
Yeah, so Katalon Studio is another tool for automation, but assume that a tool which provide all the capability which is required for the automation. This tool comes with the inbuilt report mechanism. It comes with the feature of running the test in the parallel. Same tool can be used for mobile testing, web automation, API testing, as well as the Windows-based application testing. This tool also provides like two types of different mode, manual mode and the script mode. So basically, if you are a person which is not from the coding background, you can use the manual mode for doing the testing. All you need to do is just to familiarize with yourself with the keyword provided by the Katalon Studio. And on the other hand, if you love to do coding, this tool provide another mode called script mode where you can directly start writing the script. So overall, this tool is kind of a package, all-in-one package, which is required for writing the automation script. And every feature is out of the box, so you don't need to spend much of time writing the code for that and inbuild that feature in the framework. And to answer your second question, yes, it is free at certain level. They have both the free version as well as the paid version, but it's not the open source tool. They have not made it open source yet.
Okay. So, what is it using behind the scenes? What type of programming language is it using with Selenium? How does it all work?
Yeah, so Katalon Studio has its own IDE, which is built on top of Eclipse IDE, and behind the scenes, it uses Selenium library for controlling the browser along with the Groovy language. So when you write your script, basically it gets converted into the Groovy file, and that gets executed. Also, this tool maintains an internal repository for driver executable. We know that when we work with the Selenium WebDriver, we need to have this driver executable. So this tool automatically maintain an internal repository for those driver executable. So when you run this script, you don't need to worry about like setting up driver executable path, and all those things were taken care by this tool itself. So you can consider this as a tool which is built over top of Selenium with all the feature provided by the Selenium WebDriver plus additional feature which is required for the automation perspective.
Okay, that's such an important part as well. Just making sure these things are covered because in raw Selenium, you create things like page objects.
Yeah, so in this tool, there is a special directory called object repository. This object repository is used for locating, or you can say maintaining, or your test object. So basically, test object is you can say a web element which has certain locator in it. So this is a central location where you keep all your web object inside it. So if there is a change in any locator for a particular web object, all you need to do is to come in the object repository, update it, and it will be usable for all the script which is referring this particular test object. Now, other than that, Katalon Studio provide a feature called Smart XPath. So when you create a particular test object, let's say you have defined the locator mechanism as you use XPath. So Katalon Studio will generate preset of XPath for that. And let's say if the during the execution of the script, if Katalon Studio is not able to find the particular web element with the given XPath, it is going to use this preset of queries, XPath query, to identify and locate it. So from that perspective, like you are getting a smart XPath mechanism that will take care of identifying the web element in the UI by its own.
A lot of rappers over Selenium add extra benefits that works behind the scenes, like synchronization. Does Catalan Studio do anything wrong helping with things like synchronization?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, whatever things you need from the automated or automation perspective, these tools have all in it. So from this synchronization perspective, if I'm using a plain Selenium library, I need to write my own code to take care of the synchronization. But Katalon Studio comes with another feature called Smart Wait that will take care of the synchronization part. So all you need to do is just to include that plugin in the Katalon Studio and just enable them while writing the test script. Everything will be taken care by this plugin itself. So you don't need to spend time writing your own code, which will take care of the synchronization. This tool has already inbuilt mechanism for that.
Okay, so so Catalan has like plugins you can use that just do they have like a marketplace with these plugins or is it paid or free or how does that work?
Yeah, so if you go to the official website of Katalon Studio, they have plugin available there. So you just need to make the account over there, and then you can directly import that plugin in the Katalon Studio ID. So they have the marketplace for them. Some of the plugin are free, and some of the plugin are the paid ones. So based on your requirement, you can either opt for the free plugin, and if you need some advanced feature, you might need to pay for that.
Catalan sounds like an application that's maturing quite well then, because I think I had a look at Catalan Studio a while ago, a couple of years ago or so, and it didn't have a lot of people that knew about it, but now it seems to be kind of growing, which I think it needs to happen anyway, and it's getting its own community.
Yeah, so I think they are completely working on every release they come up with the new feature, provide the bug fixes. So basically, they are targeting. They have a vision in such a manner like whatever things you need to have as a framework, they provide as a plugin. So you don't need to write your own code for that. So as I mentioned earlier, if I'm starting to create an automation framework right now, so I need to bring all Selenium libraries, then I need to have a separate module which will take care for the report generation. I need to write a separate module for run the test in the parallel. There comes the synchronization part. Then after that, I need to integrate this with some kind of a test management tool. So all these things which I need to do manually, this tool is doing for me that. So that's why it is becoming popularly day by day. And yes, as you mentioned that there is community support, so if I'm facing some problem, I can just directly go to this community, write my question, and there will be someone who is going to respond on that.
Awesome. How does Katalon Studio API features compare to other testing tools like JMeter or Postman that was made for API testing specifically?
Yeah, so I think Katalon Studio also brought up this feature inside their tool for testing the API. If I compare the JMeter, so I think the Katalon Studio, the thing which Katalon Studio is still lacking is about the performance test. Whereas come to the only the API testing, I think they have proper libraries available in the Katalon Studio for doing the API testing. So if you have worked on the Postman, the way the UI of the Postman has similar kind of UI the Katalon also have in it. So you can just open the API, provide the URL, provide the requested header, and you can see the response itself. Now, when you work with the Postman, you might need to write your own assertion. In case of Katalon, they have already provided out of the box some standard assertion which you can directly import in your test script. So you don't need to worry about like manually writing all those things. They are already there in the Katalon Studio. Coming back to the Postman, so when you do the testing using the Postman, you might see the response in the XML or JSON. So you might need to create your XML path or JSON path for doing the validation. In the Katalon Studio, it's just this can be done with a simple click. So they have a shortcut which automatically recognize the response and they will generate the XML path and JSON path for you. So you don't need to worry about that also. So that is something which Katalon Studio provide from the API testing perspective. Whereas if you look at the JMeter and the Postman, this tool can only be used for API testing. Whereas Katalon Studio, as I mentioned earlier, this tool comes with all sort of features. So same tool can be used for API testing. I can use the same tool for mobile testing, web application, as well as Windows based application.
Wow, something like that can really save a lot of time.
And as well as it's a free version, so you don't need to pay for it actually.
Do Katalon Studio offer premium services? I guess they must offer support or something at a premium, maybe?
Yeah, so actually Katalon Studio provide three different product. First is the Katalon Studio, that is a basic version which has like basic feature which you need for the automation. There is one enterprise edition which comes with the advanced feature. For that you need to buy the license. And when you get the Katalon Studio Enterprise edition, you get some advanced features such as image based object detection. You can customize the console log which you get while running the test. Also, you can create the test suite dynamically on the fly. So these are the some advanced features which comes with the Katalon Studio Enterprise edition. They have one more product called Runtime Engine, which is used for converting your, or I would say, integrating your test script with CI/CD pipeline. So you can integrate your Katalon script with Jenkins using Runtime Engine. So the base version is free, but Enterprise Edition as well as the Runtime Engine is the paid version. So once you get the license, they also provide the premium community support where any query, any questions will be taken on the priority and they are going to respond in very short time.
For bigger companies, I think something like that will be really useful.
Yeah, so that is really useful. Like if I'm stuck with something, there is someone who is going to respond me directly. They provide like on-call support also, I think. And if you look at the feature which is available in Katalon Studio Enterprise Edition, they are really vast.
If you're working with a large team across multiple locations, are you able to check Katalon Studio code into, say, your repository, version control repository, and use it just like you would Selenium?
Yeah. So given in the normal circumstances, assume that I don't have a Katalon Studio with me. So what I'm going to do first, I need to have a Git installed on my system. I need to have a repository on the GitHub, and then I need to manually check in and check out the code from the repository. But in case of Katalon Studio, I think they have introduced the plugin for the Git also. So everything can be done from the IDE itself. In the IDE, you can configure the repository, that is the remote repository, and your credential, I think, and then from the IDE itself you can pull the code or push the code in the repository. So this is how you can share your code base with other team in the organization. Also, they provide the capability of export. For example, I'm working on a project and I have developed a custom plugin, or you can say a custom keyword. I can export that keyword or the plugin and share among with the team member in the organization. So that is something wonderful I like about it. Same customized keyword can be used by other team members, so they don't need to do a rework. And also as I mentioned about the plugin, so you can release this plugin free of cost on the marketplace also, so the other user can use that plugin also.
So, do you think it makes it easier for people to collaborate in this environment using Katalon Studio with that type of model?
Yeah, I think it makes really easy for the people for the collaboration following this type of model where for example, if there are multiple team in the organization and every tester is working on some different project, those people can create their custom keyword, export it. They can create their custom plugin, export it, and share among themselves. Also, they can release on the other platform also, so that other people who are following the Katalon community can use it. Recently, I think someone has released the plugin where you can use the Excel file for reading the data. One person has released the plugin for Gmail, so you can integrate your Gmail API with the Katalon Studio. So if you go to the website of the Katalon Studio, you will find a lot of plugin which is useful for your day-to-day automation. So that's how this model helps, where you can create, share with other people.
Seems like there's quite a lot of collaboration around Katalon Studio now. I think moving forward, that's what you need to really see, because there is quite a lot of applications like these around. But Katalon Studio, every time you look, it's growing and growing. And it's something that I think will really looks like it can change the way a lot of people automate.
Yes, I agree. So I think there are a lot of people posting in the community that they are asking that to make sure this Katalon become open source. I think if they make this Katalon Studio open source, you will see a lot of more development in the for the Katalon tool, as well as you will see a lot of more feature available in the Katalon Studio.
Are there any debugging features to test scripts when they fail?
Yeah, so I think let's say if your test script fails, the first thing what you want to do is you need to look at the log. So Katalon Studio provide a very wonderful logging mechanism which will capture each and every step which is being executed as a part of the test script. Other than that, whenever there is a test failure, it automatically takes the screenshot. It has a capability of recording the video, so you can record entire test session with the just merely doing a simple configuration. So as I mentioned earlier, this Katalon Studio IDE is built on top of Eclipse. So if you have working experience with Eclipse IDE, so you will have all sort of debugging features present in the Eclipse IDE. So all those features are already a part of the Katalon Studio IDE. So all you need to do is to put a debug point and restart your script in a debug mode, and then you just can debug step by step your test script, and where you can take the help of already recorded test session as well as the screenshot to start that what is the right point for me to start my debugging of the test script.
Is this your go-to automation tool now, or do you still use Selenium without Katalon Studio for enterprise testing?
So initially we used Selenium for our enterprise testing, but when I introduced this tool as a POC in my company, they start liking it. So when I introduced this tool, I think Katalon Studio 4.x was released at that time, and now the Katalon 7.5 is in the market. So if you look at the time frame, they have introduced a lot of feature which can say which make this tool more popular. So that's why my company adopted this tool, because they no longer need to write additional feature for achieving something. Everything is present as part of the Katalon Studio. If you don't have, either it will be released in future or it is already as a part of the plugin which you can see on the Katalon website.
Does Katalon Studio offer some sort of parallelization functionality?
Yeah, so that is very important thing which this Katalon Studio provide, and it is also present as part of your basic version of the Katalon Studio. We all know that the when you run the automation script, it is a bit time consuming, and also in terms of different browser, when you have this, the testing time will increase because you might need to run the same test in all the browser to cover wide range of scenarios. So here comes the Katalon Studio. They have inbuilt mechanism of running the test in the parallel. So all you need to do is to just create a test suite collection, and that test suite will be run in parallel. You can configure them to run on a single browser, or at the same time you can configure them to run on the different browser. And that again, it is done by the Katalon Studio IDE. The parallelism is configured at the level that you can define that how many threads you want to use for executing the test. I think in the parallel configuration, you can also specify that part, like let's say if that particular test is failed, I want to retry that particular test. So that is also configurable inside the Katalon Studio itself. So that's why like the parallelism what the Katalon Studio offer is really fantastic.
Wow, that's rare in the market. I know few paid codeless application like Katalon Studio that does that, but it's at a premium price. So to be offering parallelization built in out of the box, that's something I haven't seen in a free application just yet. So I'm quite surprised, and think that's one of the ones that will encourage quite a lot of people to get involved with Katalon Studio, because that can save so much time.
Yeah, and the biggest advantage is that I don't need to write any additional code to achieve the parallelism. It is already inside the Katalon. And as I mentioned earlier, the important part is like you can run the test suite parallel in different browser at the same time. So that is something really good feature of the Katalon Studio. On the other hand, if I'm working on the Selenium library by myself, then I might need to develop a framework that can support such kind of configuration, which can be time consuming.
Before we go, is there any actionable advice you can give someone to help them with their Katalon Studio effort? And what's the best way to find you, contact you, or learn more about your work?
I have a Udemy course on the Katalon Studio. People can go and subscribe there. Once they subscribe, I provide the full capability of helping them if they are facing any problem in the Katalon Studio. So once you subscribe that course, there is a forum inside it where you can post your question. If those people who don't want to subscribe the course, they can go to my YouTube channel. So I own a YouTube channel where you can post your question regarding the problem. Definitely, I'm going to answer that question, or I'm going to create a video on that so that other people who are my subscriber, they can leverage that thing and implement in their automation script. So there are two ways you can reach me. Either you can go to my Udemy course, or you can just follow me on my YouTube channel and post your questions over there.
Thank you, Rahul, for your Katalon Studio brilliance. For more about this episode, head on over to stopcoding.co.uk/podcast. So that's it for another episode of the Stop Coding Automation Podcast. I'm Ajamo, and my mission is to help you succeed in software testing and automation and help you get that automation testing job. As always, keep winning, keep testing. Laters.
Thanks for listening to the Stop Coding Automation Podcast. Head on over to stopcoding.co.uk for show notes, amazing blog articles, and all you need to get that automation testing job. Don't forget to subscribe to Stop Coding to continue your testing journey.